What's up, everybody? We'll get started in just a second. All right. Who's ready to hack some shit? I got good news, too. I just saved a bunch of money on my cyber insurance by switching to offline mode. What's up, everybody? Use the turbo button? Yeah. Remember the little red button, kid? Yeah. Push the little red button. Andy man would put on a seatbelt. Wait, what is this? Why is my screen all off? There we go. Perfect. Adjust this out. Got tiny black bars for some reason. I don't know. You know what? They annoy me. And reconnect. There we go. Sorry about the late start time, my folks. I had something come up. Something just popped up, and I had to get it taken care of real fast. So, sorry, not sorry. I don't know. Hope everybody is having a fantastic, crushing it, good old time Monday. I had good news. I was able to talk to the man, the myth, the legend, the Master Mouse, and he said, yes, you can throw more money at me, and he set it up so I could buy more lap time. So we ended the stream with 20 minutes of lab time last night. I'm building a dino bed. Nice. It was really funny, actually. My older son, when he got his first big boy bed, we go and we take the crib out of his room, take it apart, we put his bed in there, and it was a Lightning McQueen bed that we got from my sister-in-law. It was her son's old bed, and he freaking loves cars. So he's like 2 at this point, and he looks at it, he's all excited, he just sits and he goes, looking all around it, he goes, bed, yay. Just, I don't know, he's like, all right, yeah, I'm happy you're happy, kiddo. So, let me check while this is booting up. Let's see, everyone. Euler managed to eke out a snipe on SM for first message. Let's see. Oh yeah, by the way, so I thought I saw y'all asking about the music, so I dropped the link to it there. This is from the Heartbound video game. I had a look at that game. I may have to check it out because I got a really awesome tip on how to help my kids learn to read. Actually, from our one and only 8-Bit Oni. Because apparently his teachers were like, super impressed with his kid's reading ability. So what he did was he said, oh, well, the teacher was like, hey, what was your secret? And he goes, you really want to know? It's like, yeah. He's like, I played Zelda. Was it Ocarina of Time 8-bit? Ocarina of Time, yep. He said, I played through Ocarina of Time and I read them everything that happened in it. And I was like, well, damn, guess I'm going to need to play some Zelda. It's going to be a tough chore, but I'll take that hit. So I actually thought about trying to do that. Like, I was thinking like other games also. And I want to play Heartbound. I just don't know if it's really that appropriate. Ocarina of Time, very kid-friendly. I don't know on Heartbound. I'll have to go check it out. That load workstation 1 or 2? I did load 2. I wonder why our DNS beacon didn't call back, but you know what? I don't care because I'm going to get the old school beacon. We're going to load some PowerShelly. Get this cracking. I played the entire game with my kid and read everything out loud to my kid, and he started to read after that. That is so awesome, dude. Especially the thing, I played Ocarina of Time, and I remember it had a pretty decent story to it, and my older son is at the age where he's liking chapter books. And so he gets really excited, and he's got a fantastic memory. So he remembers things. I can't lie to him and then gaslight him because he's got a mind like a steel trap. And so he really likes the stories and gets into them. So like every night he'll ask my wife, "Mommy, can we read another chapter?" It's like, "Aw." So just one of those things you don't think you're gonna like do as a parent. It just kind of pops up for you. And that's actually not even just true for parenting. All of life's just an adventure with random encounters, right? Yeah, and he's like, no, I have too many books in my house because all of his kids are avid readers. Too freaking good, man. I love that story. It warms my cold, dead heart to hear that stuff. All right, let's connect to our system backdoor. Okay, awesome. So, did we finish? Actually, let's go pull up our code from last night. I'm pretty sure the last commit I did up on the GitHub was our S4U to self code. Or our S4U to self function. Oh, we did, except... Damn, I don't know if it saved the change. Oh, wait, no, this should be alt service. Yeah, this should be alt service for when we add the self parameter. Let me double check here. I still don't fully grok the S4U to self method. I kind of get it a little bit, but like I don't fully understand it. Because one thing we can do here, so we made two functions. This is, S4U is the service for you. And there's two versions of it. Service for you to self, so you can have basically a service authenticated as a user. And there's S4U to proxy, and I forget exactly what that one does. Wait, am I offline on Twitch? No. Okay, there it goes. Dashboard was jacked up on me. So let's take a look here. Okay, good. So what I've got, let me show y'all. So I've got the little like manager dashboard over here, and this had like gone blank and didn't say live. It said offline. I was like, wait, what? How is this online? Or how's YouTube online but not this? It threw me for a loop-de-loop. My, how the turns have tabled. Let's see. Yeah, because so when we do the S4U attack, this is using a machine account proxy, basically, or a machine account TGT, whenever we get this. And what we can do then is we can request to an SPN that machine has access to, right? So let's go do something real quick. So we can kind of get our bearings on this. Let's import power view. The APIs betray you. I know, right? Oh, actually did the... Let me check something real quick. Oh, good. Good. We did send out the hacker bot notice that the stream went up. Very nice. Okay. So let's do this. We do, I think we called it Kerberos. Yeah, role-based constrained delegation finds targets. So we'll run this. This is actually running two different invocations here. So we made a modification here because we realized that our role-based constrained delegation query right here. So this find targets, this query that we were running had this value, which was the security identifier for the domain hard-coded. So we wanted to generalize this and make it that this was not lab specific for finding targets. We wanted to make this more generic. So what we did instead is we had it do a little bit of trickery. We have it do convert name to SID for the domain users group, because the domain users group is always built in, right? It's always 513. And then we just stripped off this last bit right here. And then now we've got the domain SID right here. And then we injected it into the string here. So this helped us generalize this function as it was running. So if we take this over into, let's say even just for the exam, which is the next immediate objective, right? If we had left this hard-coded in here, we'd have been SOL. In fact, here, let me show you the code. Dude, where is that? Oh, it's way up at the top. I want to go reorganize these functions here. Here, see, so what we're doing is we're getting the SID and we're injecting the SID right here.
User cell 0N is online.
We've got Cylons in the chat. What's up, Cylon? Thanks for coming online, man. You know what? Dang it, that's another one of the shows I need to go watch. And it's going to be... I'm never going to get through my watch list. I only watch TV for an hour, maybe two a week. Because I'm just hella busy. And I'm never going to get to Battlestar Galactica at this rate. I still have, like, 5 seasons of Voyager to get through. So I think there's 7 seasons, and I think I'm in the 2nd season. And that was like 2 years ago. All right, so I had someone ask me a question today, and I couldn't properly, I couldn't word a proper response. Question was, if curb roasting requires knowing someone's credentials, why not just use the credentials? Okay, so curb roasting doesn't require knowing that account's credentials. It requires knowing any user's account credentials. So the way curb roasting works, we pull up the iPad of knowledge here. So what we're going to have here, let's say we've got some machine here, right? And on that machine, we have an SPN configured. So let's say, for example, SQL kind of becomes the usual whipping boy here. So if we say this is, that is a horrible S. So let's say it's SQL slash workstation1.domain, whatever it is, right? So what we can do is we can actually have our domain controller here, and then we've got some workstation here. And so if this thing has an authenticated user, this user can actually send their TGT up to the domain controller and request a TGS to the SPN. Now, we might not necessarily want to use this TGS, but you got to remember the kicker here is that this TGS is configured, or it's encrypted, right? It's using symmetric encryption. So it's encrypted with this machine's, let's call this machine M1, with M1 hash. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's not the machine hash. Excuse me. It's the user hash. So that user hash, if we can go through and we can get the Kerberos ticket, we can then do an offline cracking attack against it with, say, Hashcat. And if we can break that encryption, we can get it back. Now, the kicker here also is that these is often using the RC4 encryption. RC4, easy to break. So one mitigation you can do is actually enforce AES encryption. Harder to break. Another thing you can do is just have a complex password. Because it still requires doing an offline password attack. So doesn't matter if you have a very long complex password, it doesn't really matter which protocol you're using. I still recommend to like my clients, put it in AES mode. But if the password's really long and complex and not like just dictionary words, you're not going to crack it. Dude, I have on my hash cracking server at work, it has 8 Titan Vs, which is roughly the equivalent to 3 or 4 4090s these days. The difference is really the Titan Vs are more suited for server workloads. Yeah, it's a beast of a machine. If I could go build one with like 8 4090s, it would probably double the computing power. But at the same time, the 4090s aren't designed in a server configuration to like draw from the front and push out to the back. They're designed basically to pull in from the side and vent out the back. Well, if you got those cards slotted right next to each other, there's nothing to pull right there. Or the board's just going to get freaking hot. You're just going to be pulling hot air off the adjacent board. Yeah. Whoa, dude, I think we dropped 35 grand building that hash cracker. Yeah. But now granted, this was 35 grand. I want to say 4 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago. Now it's been 4 years ago. But anyway, so it's probably like closer to 100 grand these days. Yeah, it's a beastly machine. The great thing I like about it though, actually, is that it has a ton of virtual RAM because each card has 12 gigs, right? So 12 times 8, you've got like 106 gigs of virtual video RAM. And when you're running local AI models, that's kind of usually the big constraint. The math is actually not very intensive. It doesn't put a big workload on the video cards, but you need the memory to hold the model in place there. So with that kind of workload, I can actually hold multiple models in memory. And actually, I just got, we have a smaller version of it that has two 1080 Ti's. We call it, the big hash cracker we call Cthulhu. The little hash cracker, I call it Baby Thulu. I just got Baby Thulu set up in my home lab so I can start messing with a few AI models. Because AI models are kind of cool, but the memory requirements can be kind of funky. And I thought for a fun stream, we'll do, once RTO is wrapped up, we'll go grab like some boxes and we'll do like kind of progressively more difficult boxes and hack the box. And we'll see, can this AI model called White Rabbit Neo, could it actually walk us through like what to do? And could it basically complete the box on Hack the Box? I thought that would be a fun thing to do. What are you doing, Spaz? Get down. Get down. No, that wasn't an invitation for pets. That was a, what are you doing? She just went spazzed out and slammed against the wall under my desk. Yeah, I thought it'd be something fun to do, not just because I was like, you know what? There's other people that have talked about this, and I'll tell you this, sucks so bad. So Friday, I did an interview with a fella. He's got a kind of budding YouTube channel, and he's interviewed other security folks like Tyler Ramsby, Hack Smarter, and he asked if we could do an interview. I was like, yeah, sure, man. So we got on there, and then he uploads the video, and I go to check it, and it didn't capture any of my audio. I'm like, oh no. And I thought I did really good in that interview. And one of the things we talked about was AI stuff, and I gave him what I felt at the time was a pretty accurate answer, and now I feel even more confident in this, and that is that AI is going to be really cool, but it's not going to be taking those kind of jobs. McDonald's had rolled out an automated AI ordering system for their drive-thru. And it was doing so bad and getting memed on TikTok so hard, they canceled the project. So I like AI and it's really neat, but you got to think at the end of the game, it's at the end of the day, it's just an imitation machine. It is not thinking. Hold on, what did I do with the iPad here? So one of the things we can do with that Cthulhu is it has 106 God, I cannot write today. It has 106 gigabytes of RAM. So let's say you wanted to load an AI model that's a 30B. Let's say, for example, White Rabbit Neo. Let's say it's called White Rabbit Neo 30B. So this 30B here means it has 30 billion parameters to it. So if you run 30B, that means you're going to need approximately 30 gigs of video RAM to run it. So pretty beefy. Excuse me. But there's some cool stuff you can do with these where you can take those parameters and they call it quantizing. So let's say this is too big, you can quantize it. And they're usually rated from like 1 to 4. So it's something in the 1 to 4 range. And so if you can get Q4 in here, basically I think that's how many bits have been cut off and you're still keeping fairly good accuracy, right? So if you can drop this down to a Q4, this 30 billion, still 30 billion, but you're using half the space. And so it's going to take like approximately 15 gigs. Maybe let's call it 16 gigs of memory. I didn't tell you to strike that out. Stop that. 16 gigs. All right, fine. Wipe that. This program is too automatically helpful. 16 gigabytes. So if you can get a quantized model, and there are people that go through and they just do their quantizing and have fun with it. It's like a hobby for them, trying to make it hyper specialized. Then you can actually run it in smaller things. So I think somebody did make a 30B Q4. I believe those two cards have, those 1080 Ti's have 12 gigs each, so I could run a quantized version of White Rabbit Neo on there. So I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna play with it. There's some stuff I want to do with it. And yeah, Oni, that's the thing, is everybody thinks AI is going to become the next big sentient thing, but it's not giving that appearance right now. We're not with our current models and understanding. Yeah, it's neat, and it can come up with stuff, but it is confidently hallucinogenic. That's the big issue, is it comes up with wrong answers, and it is confident about them. There was a hilarious story about a lawyer that cited cases that didn't exist in his legal brief and submitted that to the court. And they found out about it, and they disbarred him. That means he's not able to work as a lawyer. I have actually, one of the things I've used White Rabbit Neo for was actually building, what is it? Building, crap, what's the tool called for SQL injection? SQL map. I gave it I had a JSON post request, and I wanted it to test each of the variables. So I gave it the post request. I said, hey, build me a SQL map. And I forget what it is. I had to get very detailed with the request. But basically to build a SQL map query that will test this request and all the parameters listed in the JSON request. And it actually did. It got me really close to the answer. So doing stuff like that will be helpful. But trying to make it like auto magical, let it run autonomously, that's a horrible idea. I see it eventually being a great search engine. Yeah, it could be. I mean, imagine doing a search without starting over when you don't know what you're looking for. Instead, you just refine your search. Yeah. And that's kind of what's neat about it. I use it sometimes for like random stuff. Like I need to come up with a name for something. I was like, hey, help me come up with a name that has these properties to it. And actually came up with some neat ones. I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty decent. All right. Cool. So the S4U, I think we're fairly done on it. Actually, I take that back. There's actually something else we can do here. So we made another function in here for find targets. And that is, we had one called inject access for role-based constraint delegation, because we need a system that has an SPN set to it in order to be able to do this kind of attack. So what we did was we have a system shell on workstation 2. So we injected a donor SID into our target here. Let me take a look at that again real fast. I'm trying to remember the process we went through last night. It's been a busy day of just doing lots of little things and nothing major. Yeah, here we go. So this was actually really cool because what we did here, let's see. I don't remember what this SDDL is saying. I want to try something quick. Actually, there's something else I want to do, which is we did an inject access. I want to make another one called revoke access because you got to remember if you're working like as a red teamer, you don't necessarily want to leave these back doors for other people to find, particularly bad people. So if you make something vulnerable in the network, you need to go make it unvulnerable. In fact, I knew a guy that when he would compromise systems, let's say anonymously, he would actually go in and patch them so people couldn't follow him and do the same exploit. It's kind of funny. Okay, so let's do one more here. I want to make another alias for the Kerberos. Role-based constraint delegation. Revoke access. Yeah, that's that. Let's see something. Yeah, that's where we did it. Let's do this, and then we're going to do beacon command register, and we'll register the command. There we go. So what this is going to do is we're injecting into this value of the machine. And mostly what we're doing is we're using the local machine's system account, which has access to its domain account, to be able to inject this because the machines have write access over their own identity. So what we can do is we injected this. So we're just going to clear this value out. So the revoke access is going to be a lot simpler. In fact, I think I want to, instead of calling this inject access, I think I want to call this inject SPN. So let me go rename this real quick. Yep, there we go. And we're going to do the same thing here, revoke SPN. Or maybe just remove SPN. Let's do that. There we go. That's going to help us keep track of like kind of what it's doing a little bit better. So we'll make a little note here. This so use power view to remove. Actually, we'll say to clear. And this is the thing. The MSDS allowed to act on behalf of other identity value. There we go. And let's put a little bit of extra notes in here. Drop this in. And then, because yeah, what we're doing is we're just telling it what system to revoke it on. Look at that. Real fast here. Here we go. So let's define something here real quick. Let's do... I'm going to drop that in here for now, because what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to change the identity, I believe. Yeah. Oh, it's actually, we injected it to DC2. Is that what we did? Okay. Now, actually, there's a cool trick we can also do with this. This would be really fun. And that is, what if we don't have system administration on a system, but we do have a user, like a plain user account? There's another fun trick we're going to do with that in just a second. So let's get the size of the array here we've got. Boom. We throw this on the end here. You're a nerd. There we go. And we're going to call this the target here. Cool, because all this is going to do is just going to take one target while we're in here. Yeah, I knew it was you stealth without even having to look. I knew it. I didn't even have to engage my peripheral vision. I just knew it. Okay, Oni, hey, no problem, man. Thanks for stopping by. Always appreciate you visiting. I know I felt bad the stream got a little bit of a late start, but not that bad because it was important things that I had to get done and had to make sure it got done properly. So I didn't want to rush it. Got to make an entrance. Yeah, got to take care of the family first. Alrighty, let's see here. So this is going to be a really simple command here.
User Nima Merowan is online.
Hey, Nima, thanks for coming online. Welcome, welcome. So for my new folks that hopped in, what we're doing here is we're using a tool called Cobalt Strike, which is a paid command and control tool. Oh, that's not what I needed. This. And we're kind of automating some attacks that we've done in the lab. This is the Red Team Ops lab from 0 Point Security. And so what we're doing is we're making custom functions to automate some of these kind of attacks that we like to do, because the commands can be very long and arduous to type in, and typos really suck, especially trying to track them down in an alphabet soup of a long command. So what we're doing is we're building something called an aggressor script that we can import over here into our interface for the command and control system. And then we can just run these functions and give it a couple of parameters, and it formats it for us and just runs it. Super helpful, going to save a ton of time. So I believe all we need here is just the target that we're going to wipe. Yeah, that should be good. And then we need to parse out the target. So $target, that's going to equal our array, position 1.
User Thieb of Kakra is online.
The Lavic hacker? I think that's what that is. Thanks for coming online, man. Welcome, welcome. We're just having some fun with doing little hacky hacks. The black hacker. Okay, that was gonna be my second guess. I had hack the planet! Hack the planet, Void. All right, so this is gonna be real simple because what we're gonna do here is just clear out this value. It's allowed to act on behalf of another identity. Because when we did the, let me check the notes real quick. When we did the inject, where is that? Yeah, so we actually injected this onto DC2 when we did this. Oh, that's right, because when we did this, we actually had, so what we captured, let's look at the walkthrough here. Bring up the iPad. So what we had was, this is our, let's look at kind of like what the network layout looks like. So we've got our attack box. We have our Teams server, which is our C2 system. These two are connected. We've got something like a firewall right here. We have access to workstation number 1. And then we have access to, actually, let's just leave it at that for now. And then we've got the domain controller here. So what we did is we used a coercion attack to capture DC2. That is horrible writing. Domain controller, TAC2, $. So we have a TGT for it. So we have phase 1 authentication. We can use that ticket to impersonate that account to any system that we have access to, or that we can reach on the network. But the problem is, this does not provide access here. That's a no. By default, those machine accounts in Active Directory, they don't have local administration over themselves. However, if we have this, what we can do, so we have no local admin. But what we can do is we can modify it. We can modify the machine account. So using that TGT, we can actually go to Active Directory and say, hey, by the way, yeah, I'm the machine. I want you to add this to my machine account. So we go in and inject this little fella right here. This MSDS allowed to act on behalf of other identity. And what we do is we allow it to get a SPN, a service principal name, for the workstation we're on. And then that allows us to go through and use our workstation account to then use the S4U attack primitive, because then we can request a ticket, Kerberos ticket, over to... We can then request a Kerberos ticket to that machine for the SPN that we set. So, a lot of fun stuff we can do there. A lot of steps in it. This is by far probably the most difficult of the attack primitives that we do in the Red Team Ops course. By the way, for the new folks, here's a link to it if you want to check it out. I highly recommend it. It is so good. We have probably spent on stream 300 hours going over stuff and like digging into it and busting it apart. So it's been really good. Yeah, it's been hella good. So also for my new folks, we go way beyond what's like the standard fare of the lab, right? This is not standard stuff. This aggressor script that's now like 1,300 lines, approaching 1,400. You do a little bit of aggressor scripting towards the end of the course, but it's maybe like a 20th of this. It's very small. But shit, we learned a new skill. Let's make the most of that skill. So that's what we've been doing here. And just doing things that like kind of help us understand this a little bit better, right? Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to actually adjust something here. We need an if-then statement. Or an if-else statement. So if the size of the array is equal to 2, then what we're going to do is we're going to then define our command up here. There we go. And if it's not, then what we're going to do is we're going to send an error message. So we'll send that to the first beacon, and we're going to say invalid parameters. Oh. And also we're going to have it do a return statement so it doesn't continue executing. And then the last thing we're going to do is we actually need to run the actual command. So what we did is we just built the PowerShell command we're going to run here. We put a note in here that it needs to run with PowerView. So I'm not going to worry about trying to make the function import the PowerView library. I'm just going to assume that if it's not in there, we're just going to let it error out. Hyper onion. Nice, love that. Yeah, actually, there's lots of ways to defend against these, and there's lots of ways to detect them too. This particular one, what you want to be watching out for is just changes to the machine account, for especially like if this one gets set, because and also in the lab, one thing we've got here is if you come over to applications, there's a DNS server, so we can set up like custom domains and stuff. If you look at what we did on workstation 1, I used the IP address. But actually, there is a blaze.bits domain set up in the network. So we could have downloaded this from blaze.bits/bypass. This string here was running an AMC bypass and then an HTTP beacon back to our command and control server. But one of the other things that's in here, though, is we have a Kibana dashboard. And so we can go through and all these systems are sending their logs to a Kibana Elastic Stack. And so we can go parse through those logs and check and see what's happening with it. So one of the things that I try to actively avoid is using Mimikatz, because Mimikatz has to open a process handle into the LSAS process. That's and I forget what it stands for, but that's the process that holds all the keys and does all the authentication for Windows. So anything that touches LSAS, antivirus, and EDR just start zeroing in on it. Like, what are you doing? How dare you touch the keys? So we kind of chill out on making sure we know what to touch and what not to touch. Another thing is, a lot of these attacks we're doing with Kerberos, we're using a tool called rubeus. And rubeus has a dead giveaway, and that is you would see a process other than LSAS making calls to domain controllers on port 88, which is the Kerberos port. So yeah, they all have the little telltales. The purpose of a lot of these is making sure that you can help like your clients know, hey, do you have detections in place for these kind of attacks, right? So you go through, you work on these, you do them, you see how far you can get in the environment. You usually have like an objective you're trying to get to when you're doing red teaming. I'm a penetration tester currently. I've been doing that for 6 years. I want to transition over into red teaming. So that's kind of the main focus of this. This whole endeavor has been to get on the red team. A lot of people will use pen testing and red teaming interchangeably. They are different. They do have different objectives and different purposes and different strengths, but they also overlap quite a bit. A lot of the techniques are very similar. It's just their execution is different. All right, cool. So this is a nice little cleanup function we need because, like, for example, if I wanted to check, let me save this real fast. I want to check something real quick because we injected an SPN2 DC2 last night and we did not remove it. So I want to go check and see about removing it. Yeah, here we go. That's all we have to do there. So let me go pull up the terminal real quick. So remember, this is also, we're just checking the machine account on the domain controller, and any default user has read access to just about everything in Active Directory by default, except for LAPS, the local administrator password service, except for that one. So let's check that real quick. We imported PowerView already, so if we do powerpick get domain computer identity DC TAC2 $. Actually, I wonder if it needs to not be DC dollar, or if I need that $sign in there. I think I need to take the $sign out. Yeah, here we go. And so if we look for, see this right here? So we injected this. This value did not exist initially when we did this. So what we need to do is we have to go delete this using our impersonation of the domain controller. Using that that TGT if we had it. I don't have it though, so you know what I'm going to do? Let's do something here. One of the great things I like about the lab is we do have console access to all the machines, so I can just go pull up the desktop for the domain controller. So let this come up for a second. And what we'll do is I'm just going to have it run a real quick beacon. Except I just remembered something. I'm going to need to set up a reverse port forward. I gotta remember what the syntax here is. And the reason for that is because we're loading all the beacons over web requests, but there's a proxy in the network. And so not everything is allowed to talk through the proxy out to the internet. So what we're doing is we're going to set up a reverse port forward on this machine to talk back to our C2 server and load it that way. So what we'll do here is we'll do reverse port forward. We want to find this on port 8080. The forwarding host is going to be 127001. And that 127 is not like this machine we're on here. It's going to be the command and control server. And then the forwarding port there is going to be 80. So we're going to set that up. And then what we need to do also, this is another helper function we made to open ports in the firewall on the system. Oh, we need to do that over here, though. Open port 8080. So using this command that we added to our custom aggressor script, it just makes us a new firewall rule. Which is funny because I don't know why it's doing 8080 with a bunch of spaces inbound. That's kind of weird. All right. So now let's do this. I'm going to copy this command right here. I'm going to bring it over to our domain controller. And we're going to run it, but we're going to modify it real fast. And this is just so we can get a beacon over on the domain controller without having to go do the full exploit chain. Threat modeling is very critical, yeah. I got to do actually a really fun threat modeling exercise for one of my clients, which was it was a bank. And actually the threat model was around physical access. And so we sat through and we talked through it. And it was really fun, actually, because we found out, as I'm just asking questions to try and understand their environment and who would be a prime target and why, we actually found out that there was a logic flaw in their system, so of checks and balances, that could have allowed a user that normally is only allowed to allow like $1 million in transfers under a very particular set of circumstances, could actually allow $5 million. So they were able to close that gap without me having to even break into anything. We just found it by accident, by me asking questions, trying to figure out what the heck was going on. Oh, come on. You're not going to copy the command? Suck. Killing me, Smalls. All right. You know what? We have those actually saved over here. So we have some download exec runners here. Let me copy this. This is what I was talking about, the blaze.bits, because we had a custom domain set up. So what we're going to do, though, is we need to change this. This is instead going to be Workstation 2. What is Workstation 2's IP address? Let's see. It is 10.10.123.102. 10.10.123.102. So what we'll do is we'll copy this, and then we're going to drop this in here. Oh, dang it. I forgot to specify the port. 8080. All right, so then we can just copy this and hopefully bring this over to the domain controller. Oh, so we don't want that to be an HTTP. We want that to be an SMB. Because if we're trying to use HTTP, it can't connect back out that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a different kind of beacon here. I got to see which ones we've got hosted. I think we have SMB 1 and 2 hosted on the web server. Manage. We have SMB 1. All right, so we'll do that. We'll do a /SMB 1 here. SMB 01? There we go. So now what should happen is we should be able to connect to this machine here from our attack box. So if we come back over to our attack box and we link over to it, so we'll link to DC2 on BlazeBit 01. So now what we've got is, you can see now we've got administrator access on the domain controller. So from this one right here, what we're going to do is we're going to elevate to the actual system process. And we'll do an SMB priv-esque pipe on that. Hey, Matt, what's up, dude? There we go. So now we're system on the domain controller, which means we can access the domain controller's DC2 account. So what we can do now is then we can go modify ourselves in Active Directory. So what I want to do now is... Actually, we need to do something first. We need to import PowerView. Let's drop that in there. There we go. And then I'm going to drop this command in, but I don't want to clear it first. Actually, yeah, might as well just clear it out. Oh, it would help if I actually told it where to run it. So we're running this through a command called PowerPick, and what this does is runs unmanaged PowerShell, and it has an AMC bypass put into it. There's also a PowerShell command, but that runs a normal PowerShell.exe, which is called managed PowerShell. And when we do it that way, we have an AMC hook, so we have to have an AMC bypass manually added to it before we do that. All right, so now, if we come back over here, there we go. So you have this has that allowed to delegate to other identities on behalf of other identities, whatever it is. Big, long, wordy thing. So if we come run that again and check DC2, that value should be missing now. Yeah, so it's no longer in here. So we were able to wipe it out. If we went through and we did the full attack chain again, and we captured DC2's ticket granting ticket, and then impersonated it, and then we went through and did all that, we could have done it that way without having to go fully compromise DC2. I was like, it takes too many steps. I didn't want to deal with it. All right, so there's another cool thing we can do here. So this whole attack did require that we had... It required that we had local administrator access to a machine. So one thing we could do is, let's say we only have low priv user, right? We haven't found a way to escalate. Well, that's fine, because what we can do then is we can go spawn a machine. And that is, it's not going to be a real computer, but what we're going to do is we're going to join a computer to the domain and create a machine account for that domain. So one thing that every user by default has the ability to do in Windows is to join 10 machines to Active Directory. It's called their machine account quota. So if we want to take a look at that, let's take a look here. So if we say power pick, and we'll do get domain object, and we're going to specify the identity, DC dev.
User Jake Step from is online.
Jake from State Farm. Hell yeah, I've reached the peak now. It's all downhill from here. Hey. What are you wearing, Jake? Jake. Please tell me you know. I love that commercial. What are you wearing, Jake? Polos and khakis? Well, she sounds hideous. Well, she's a guy, so. Oh god. So Hyper, this is a domain we have fully compromised completely, but it's a lab environment called as part of the Red Team Ops course from 0 Point Security. So here's a link to it if anybody wants to check it out. Highly recommend it. It is great. Oh, if y'all want to see the code that we're working on. Oh, you know what? I never committed the change from last night, I guess. Didn't I? Because I put all this up in GitHub. What was the last commit I made? Yeah, what was the last bit of code I threw in here? Oh yeah, okay. We did have the S4U to self. Okay. Oh, I think I fixed another function. I didn't upload it, but that's fine. So this is up on GitHub. Here's the script we're working on. If you just want to poke around with it and take a look, I haven't figured out how to get the syntax highlighting correct in GitHub because this is using a rather obscure language called Sleep. And this is literally the only system I've ever seen use this language. And I have learned way more about it than I really cared to learn to make these different functions happen. I do, actually, Matt, now that you mention it. Hang on. You know what? Actually, I was going to go make it Nightbot real quick, but actually, I'm going to deprecate Nightbot for the most part. And I'm going to migrate all that stuff over into StreamerBot, where I can back up the configuration. Because there's lots of fun things I can do with StreamerBot. Like, for example, eventually, I'm going to go set up HeckerBot that's going to heckle folks in the chat. It's going to be an AI chatbot just designed for heckling people. It'll do other stuff too, but that's going to be the funnier thing. Let's see. Let me take this out. Yeah, I know virus is out of date. It's fine. Yeah, so this has been a lot of fun in here. There's no syntax highlighting in GitHub, unfortunately. And this one actually has its own syntax highlighting. I think this was an extension added into... Let me see real quick. What do we have that's installed? Okay, so there is a Cobalt... Dark Operator wrote a Cobalt Strike aggressor script. I need to actually go look at this because I think this has an error in it. In fact, I know it has an error. And so I need to go submit a pull request for this. Because whenever I try to do a, what is it? A beacon execute assembly here, what should happen is it should say execute underscore assembly and then give all the variables to run with it. However, it leaves off the underscore assembly right there. And that has bit me in the ass so many times writing these functions. So it's a lot of fun there. All right, cool. So we created a function to inject that SPN. And then we also created a function to remove it. Because if we wanted to really be like following good procedure as we're doing like a red team operation, if you open a door, you better damn well make sure you close it behind you, if at all possible. All right, so let's take a look here. So let's do another. Actually, I kind of want to put it up here with these other commands. Yeah, screw it. We'll just put it at the bottom. I'm going to reorganize all these commands later and put them into more logical groupings just as you're going down the... Because, like, there's Kerberos commands down here that we built that are at the very end. And so they should be up with the rest of the Kerberos commands. But let's do this real quick. Let's do another alias. What do I want to do here? I don't know if I want to make this a Kerberos command or not, because I actually want to make a helper real fast to check the machine account quota, which I never finished typing, actually. Way to go, Smooth Brain. Okay. Properties. MSDS. Machine account quota. I think that should be correct. See if it comes back. There we go. I don't know why it had a error in it, but it did come back with the correct stuff. So this is what we expect. We're running as B Farmer. So he's just he's a developer in the environment, very low privileged. And he has the ability to join 10 machines to this environment. So I've actually done this before on penetration tests whenever I needed to, for various reasons. I'll just go create a new machine account. And that should be something that would be, again, someone asked about detections for this. Well, hey, are you monitoring whenever new machines are joined to your internal domain? Right? That could be a dead giveaway. So I want to have this run. I'm just trying to think how I want it to run. Alias. Trying to think how I want to group this for now. We'll just call it get machine account quota. Might change the name of it later. And what we'll do is, actually, I'm going to drop this command up here real fast. That's not the command. That's the command. There we go. And then we'll register it. So these commands have to be done in groups. Not necessarily in groups, but that's essentially what we're doing here. So the alias is actually what's going to run whenever we type the command. But if we don't register the command with the CLI, then we can't tab complete it. We can't do the get help for it. So let's see. So this is using power view to check machine quote. For current user. There we go. Actually, that's all we need right there. I don't even need anything else. Boom. Because this is going to be a very simple command here. It's not even going to take any arguments. So then we're going to do a B power pick. So our beacon's $1. Our commandlet is going to be $command. And then we can take out this last argument here. Real easy. All right. Let's go save this and repeat it. So every time we make a change to it, it keeps the file cached in memory, so we got to reload it. Cool. We didn't get any compilation errors, so that's good. So let's try this. Let's do get machine account quota. Test beacon to run something that doesn't exist. That's not good. Why didn't that pick this up? That's weird. That should have picked up the command and injected it right there. You know what I bet? Oh, I know what's happening here. I didn't finish the command, that's what. There. Let's save that. Because we had double quotes in here, and I had wrapped that string in double quotes, so it was breaking the tokenization. Alright. That would definitely be bits for the idiot buffer. Alright, let's try this again. There we go. Now there's the command. Oh, shit. You know what I just realized? The identity here, this is not generalized to our local domain. Let me try something. What happens if I, instead of telling it to get the domain, what happens if I do identity B farmer? Let me try this. Ah, dang it, I gotta pass the power pit. Let's see what happens here. So if we run this and we just tell it we're doing B farmer, ah, crap, it doesn't have it. Okay. What if we do dev.cyberbotic? Okay, so it didn't like that either. Okay, so we'll need to get this is called the distinguished name right here for the domain. So how do we get the distinguished name for the domain? What can we do there? Let's think about this. Get out of there, Panda. What you getting into? Stop it. Stinky dog. Let's see, what could we use to get the distinguished name for the domain? I think actually there's a get domain option. Let me try that. Okay, there is. What if I can pipe that to get domain object? I mean, it's got the info here. It's just we would have to reformat it and do a bunch of other stuff, and I don't necessarily want to do that. There's the name right there. Let me see what this get dom. Let's do property. Let me see if this will work to get the domain object. We don't have a properties command? Damn PowerShell. Power view, get domain. So it only takes domain and credential. Well, that's annoying. Distinguished name. Let's see if we can find this real quick. I mean, we could do this. It's just going to be annoying. Because what we'd have to do is we have to reformat that to look like this. Yeah, that's gonna be annoying. Feel kind of bad just raiding my kid's snack bin for a late snack. So because of this that urgent matter that popped up. I had dinner kind of late. That's what actually pushed the stream back. And so, but I usually try to make sure I don't eat like 3 hours before I go to sleep, if at all possible. Because if you didn't know this, when you're sleeping, your brain is it's flushing and wiping fluid out of your brain. Think of it like it's a washing cycle going on in your brain. But if your body has to divert blood flow to your stomach as part of digestion, that's one of the reasons why you get sleepy after you eat a big meal. Because your stomach your body's taken a lot of blood flow and sent it to your gut for processing. So that can kind of mess up your sleep if you eat too late. So I try to make sure I keep my eating window like it closes at least 3 hours before bed. Pretty easy on the stream though, because the stream I'd usually stream for 3 hours a night. So I'm not eating on stream. This doesn't count. I burned through this caffeine in no time. This is a very minor amount of caffeine. Not sponsored by Jocko yet, Jocko. It's not showing it. It's because it's green. This is the lemon lime flavor. Let's call this one. Yeah, just lemon lime. I'm kind of sad they took Sour Apple Sniper off. I think they still have Sour Apple, but it's not Sour Apple Sniper like I liked. That's what made me sad. All right. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let me look at the... Let me look at stand-in, actually. I wonder if stand-in can actually tell us what our machine account quota is. Because stand-in is a tool, it's a post-exploitation tool used for doing a couple different things. And one of the things it can do is it can go register a fake machine account on the domain. Yeah, so this will do a lot of things. It can do some LDAP operations, SPN operations. Let's see, group operations, machine object. Does some ADCS. Yeah, so TAC computer will create, and then make will do it. This is kind of a weird syntax for this. Oh, there we go. So the make option is a make for this, for the machine account quota. Oh gosh, can you please stop? There we go. Oh, actually, here we go. So cool. So stand-in can actually do that for us. Check that out. So rather than trying to do this with Power View, we could just use stand-in. Perfect. All right. Excellent. That'll help out a ton. Because trying to do this with Power View looks like it's going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. Plus that we have to contend with all of our what is it? We have to contend with all the stupid... I'm trying to think what the word is. The PowerShell syntax. So what we need is just check the object. Okay. Let's go try this real fast. That dumped a lot of data that I didn't really want. Great goodness, where is this? This is so much data. Password property, lockout threshold, minimum password length. I don't see a machine account quota in here. Am I just blind? Oh, here it is. MSDS machine account quota. Okay. So this is kind of cool, except this output is atrocious and it's got a lot of crap in it. Plus, if we can do this with PowerView, it will be better. Just because PowerView will already be up there in memory. Because we've got the issue here where whenever we load a PowerShell module, it stays up in memory and we can keep using it repeatedly. There's a way to do that same thing with .NET binaries called the data store. But to access it, you have to use a beacon object file, and coding those, it's very briefly touched on at the end of the course and doesn't go very deep, and it can get very complex. And if you screw it up, you can actually crash your beacon. So beacon object files are great to use if you have the time to develop them properly, which we really don't. So this is interesting, but not exactly what I want. All right, so we're going to go back to the power option here. I think what we can do here, though, is I think we can do select name. Think that will work? Actually, I think we can do expand name. There. All right, so we can use this to get this back. We can do a little bit of string trickery to massage this into the correct format. We can do that. So yeah, let's do this. So let's go bring this over here. Let's this out. So this is gonna make it to be a pain in the ass. I think what we can do, though... Yeah, I think that's just how we'll have to do this. That's okay. So what we're going to do is, I need to make another subroutine here, and it's going to be called the callback. I'm going to drop this right there. And we're going to make a callback function. So one of the things that is a little bit annoying about sleep is that if I want to take the output from this PowerPick command and do post-processing kind of on the output, I've got to do it up here in a callback. So it can be a bit of a pain. So this command is actually going to move up here. We're going to have a new command here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a callback on PowerPick. How many functions do we have to pass for that? PowerPick, so the callback is the fifth option. So we need 2 nulls and then the fifth option here. So what we'll do is, because everything on sleep also pretty much operates on positional variables. So it's not like you can set them in Python where you can set like the name of it. So we'll do null, we'll do another null. And then we're going to give it the callback, which is going to be this guy right here. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to do a belog. And so this is just going to send a logging message here. We're going to say, here? We're going to say targeting domain, and we're going to say $2. Perfect. And then what we're going to do is, so we defined our domain here. So let's do this. We'll do $, domain. It's just going to equal $2. It should just be that output from it. And then our command here, we need to do a little bit of string manipulation. So how do we do a find, replace, and sleep? Let's see. Okay, so we give it the string, we give it the pattern, and then the new. So what's our example here? Foo is the word, not bar. What the hell is \A here? Hold on, is that \A the representation for the beginning of the statement? That matches alert characters. Dude, really? Is that how we do that? This language has a bleeped up implementation of regex. And so the whole time, usually the caret symbol, right? That's the one that matches the beginning of a line. Apparently, though, oh, here we go. So it does say matches the beginning of the line. You're a dirty liar because I've tried you and you have failed me. Frickin' regex. All right. Let me look at that function again here. Okay, so we're going to do some regex. This is what it's going to match. It's going to match foo or bar at the beginning of the input. So if he had taken out these /A's, it would have replaced both of those there. That's fine, because what we can do is we can literally just put a \dot in here, and we can rebuild this. So what we're going to do is just going to make a variable called temp. Temp is going to be, what do we call that function here? Actually, we'll just follow this out here. Just $string replace. This is the less glorious side of hacking that a lot of people don't see, is going through and doing this tooling development. Because, yeah, you could be really good and go through and do all this shit the hard way every time. But improving your efficiency, especially like when you're getting paid by the engagement, helps out a ton. You can find more for your client. You can hit it. It gives you an edge over a lot of things. Actually, I want to move this down. We'll take $2. It's our input. And then what was our next thing here? It's our what we're going to match, what we're going to replace. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the dots. So replace dots. And our dots are going to be replaced with DC equals. That should work, because our output looks a bit like this right here, right? So this will be DC equals, this will be DC equals, and then we just prepend to DC equals. We'll have this in the correct format. Perfect. Perfect. Hey, Matt, that might work. And if it does, then that will make me very happy. Let's give it a shot. We got a lot of distinguished names in here. Let's go look at the docs for get AD object real fast. Close that. Actually, I want to reopen that. Get AD object. I don't know why the hell there's even a search button here. It doesn't even do shit. Get AD. Oh, wait, get AD object is a built-in commandlet, isn't it, Matt? It's not a power view function, is it? This search box is a dirty, dirty liar. Because what we got back from that output, it does give it to us, but the problem is, I think we get a distinguished name of every object in the... every single object in here. So we need a way to filter it down to, like, the domain. So let's see here. Let's just do a search for it. Get AD object. Okay, so that is a built-in function. That's not a power function. That would explain why it's not in there. That search function sucks anyway. So we can tell it what property we want. The search-based server. So, oh, cool. So we can apply LDAP filters so that object class be a site. I wonder if we can, if there's a particular object class that we can. Windows LDAP object classes. LDAP object classes. Let's see. I don't think this is dealing specifically with Windows, though. It's just LDAP in general. Object class and object category. You can also get the DC via Echo login server. Take the return of that and pipe it into get AD object. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's funny, actually, Matt. It's funny that you mentioned that, because now that I think about it, the who am I command gets kind of heavily scrutinized, and I think I used that to get... No, I tried to use that to get the SID for this. Because for another command, we needed to get the domain SID. And I thought about using who am I /groups, because if y'all didn't know this, and you're on a... So if I just run who am I, it's just going to come back as B farmer. But if I do /groups in here, it actually will give us the SIDs of the groups that we're in. So he's a developer. So we could have just gone through and parsed this. But actually what we ended up doing is we got the SID for the domain users group. And then we just cut off the 513 at the end. Trying to think about something here. Actually, I don't even know if Echo login server will work on this. Let's try it. Log on server. Let's see. Yeah. I don't think it even liked that. Run it through PowerShell? Okay, let's try that. I think it's different syntax. I mean, I could do a command exe/c here. I think it's lowercase c. There you go, DC2. Let me try something quick. Let's just look. Why don't we just search this? PowerShell get domain DN. Get the domain information for the current local computer domain. Get AD domain. Let's see. Does this have... Let's see. Do we have the actual domain distinguished name? Actually, heck, that would be an easier way to get it is if we had actually done get AD domain, because there's the freaking SID right there. I guess that's a personal failing of mine, is not checking the built-in functions enough. Oh, so this is... What's the domain name actually here? DC user04com. That's the computer's container. Let me try that real quick. So just get AD domain. Try that. AD domain. See if that works. Actually, this may only also work now that I think about it, because all these machines I think are technically running server OS. So if we wanted to, we could run this and just have it. All right, there we go. Distinguished name right there. Let me try something real quick. Hang on. I'm curious now. What the hell was the command? Just get AD domain. Yeah, so this is only going to work on servers, though. So this is what we got from running that, echoing the login server, Matt. We just got whack whack DC2. But get AD domain, we've got a ton of stuff here, including the distinguished name. But the downside is this is going to be using a commandlet that's only available in Windows Server. Or you have to go through and you have to install it to a workstation. So even though this is called Workstation 2, this is actually running server because that's what's available to run up in AWS, which is the ultimate backend to this system. So let's think about this. I mean, I think the method the path we were on here is going to work. Yeah, let's do this. It's going to be DC equals. And we just string append our string onto it. Yeah, but if you go importing modules into an end user's machine, that might be kind of sus. I tell you what, let's go double check real quick. Make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. Let's go look at the computer here. I think it's here. Let's see, what operation? Actually, this is running Windows 10 Education. Interesting. So it's not running a server like I thought. Now, we could go do an import module Active Directory, but you want to talk about something that's going to be hella sus. How many end users are going to run import module? I think this will work here, though. Because what we can do is we can do a very simple string concat right here. Where we just drop in the domain. So let's call, instead of domain, let's call this the DN. Do $DN. And then what we could do is we could run this through PowerPick also. So do B PowerPick. $1. And we run $man. And that's it. Next thing I'll have my lab set up, no more side quest. The side quest must continue. What kind of lab setup are you doing, Matt? Tell me, lay some knowledge on me. Johnny 5 needs input. Actually, Johnny 5 needs water, so give me a second. I'm going to run a 3-minute ad break, so go get some water, stretch, snack, and we'll hit this again. So be right back, y'all. All right, I'm back. Oh, good. Yeah, that too. Nice. Perfect timing. I've been needing to drink more water because I was spent a lot of time outside the last couple days, and I started getting muscle cramps today. I was like, all right, I'm underhydrated. All right, let's go try this out real quick. Get machine account quota. Let's go reload our script here. And we're missing a semicolon somewhere because that's the only time that happens. Yep, right there. Actually, we're missing a lot of stuff here. We need to wrap that command right there. Okay, so Matt says, Euler, get some rest, bro. Yes, definitely get some rest. Rest is good. I usually operate on like 5.5 hours of sleep. But I try to catch a nap for like an hour in the afternoon to try and keep it around 6 hours at least of sleep, according to my sleep tracker. And when I don't get that nap, I really feel it. 5.5 hours is like the bare razor's edge minimum for me to operate efficiently. So, okay, so I saw you use Snap Labs for ease and quick spin up and tear down. I just started tinkering with Snap Labs, so I'm really looking forward to messing with it some more. Had a couple Dell R710s, but it was too loud and too much power. Nice. So now I have a dedicated home lab on an old HP Elite desk from eBay. Very cool. Need to start from scratch on that. So it's got i7 8700, 64 gigs of RAM, and two terabyte SSDs. Very sweet. So when we start building out the home lab here on stream, I've got my old Dell server. It's like a T7600, and it's got 2 Xeons and 128 gigs of RAM in it, and it's got, I want to say it's got 4 1 terabyte SSDs in a RAID 0. So it's really fast. It's kind of stupidly fast. The problem is we have to run Proxmox on it because the processors are too old to run a current version of ESXi. And so we're gonna learn some Proxmox. That's what I was running before, and actually before I shifted everything to a different server. All right, let's go reload this again. There we go. Yeah, it's such a pain that that there's so few options for like type 1 hypervisors, right? Your basic options are ESXi and Proxmox. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Let's go run this command again. Get machine account quote. I think we got a typo in here. Because it's got a new line here at the end for some reason. So we need a way to strip out the new line there at the end in our... I think there's a way we can cut that, because basically we just need to cut off a new line, a character. I think there's a strip function. Substring, here we go. So we do NOPQR. So we start at 13, end at 18. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. So it's the first one non-inclusive, right? Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. So that's the beginning of the index, but then it's going to take whatever the difference of those is, which is like 5. Well, actually, yeah, 5. Okay. So what we want is, actually, we just want this to start at 0 and take the end of the last thing here would be like just the length minus 1. I believe that would work. How do we get the length of a string? Oh, there was a patch for VMware, but you want the Proxmox? An unsupported patch, yeah. That's the issue. I actually want to mess with Snap Labs more, like since you had mentioned it. So this lab is in, Snap Labs, Immersive Labs, whatever you want to call it. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. And so I had thought about actually trying to spin something up to mess with on stream. Because, they have these other range templates over here, right? Right, so we have the Splunk attack range, we have Heimdall, 80 quick start, 2019. So there's lots of cool ones in here. Shirt Corp, Eagle Bank. These are slightly dated, right? These are from 2021, but we could do fun stuff with them. What sucks is I can't share this. Well, actually, I might be able to if I think about it. What's your experience been like building out custom labs in Snap Labs, Matt? So I thought about building one out for my class that I taught at Black Hat, because previously we were just doing it all through custom deploy scripts that were running CloudFormation. And I had wanted to use Snap Labs, but I don't know if I could do it efficiently. Plus, for a license to be able to bring people over into it, they wanted a lot of money. Yeah, you know what I want to do? Let's just do this. Let's get stupid with this. Find new line, place it with this. There we go. I'm going to try this. So we're going to replace all the dots with DC equals. We're going to take out the new line, and then we're going to prepend the DC. All right, let's see what happens here. If this works, I'm going to kind of laugh a little bit. It works. That's kind of dumb but awesome. Oh shit! You know what we forgot? The commas. We need to be comma DC equals. Comma DC equals. All right, but we're getting close. Comma. There we go. This should actually work. Because then if we want to go create a fake machine account, we'll be able to do that. All right, this one's for the gold. Oh, that's cool. So use Snap Labs for testing cases before pushing it to production. That's nice. Heck yeah. That's a really good use case. I need to go dig into Snap Labs some more. Maybe that's what I'll work on tomorrow. I'm actually on... I'm not on an active pen test right now. I have a very rare week of bench time. So maybe that's what I'll go work on is dig into Snap Labs and looking at how to kind of work on some of their ranges, maybe make adjustments and modifications to it. Although probably what will happen is I'm probably going to go read Elad Shamir's paper on S4U2 self and figure out how the hell that actually works. So that's what we're going to use on the home lab, Matt. We're going to use the Game of Active Directory lab, and it has Ansible and Terraform scripts. So we're going to go through and we're going to kind of analyze that and try and learn some Ansible and Terraform as we go through it. Then we can spin up, the lab infrastructure and our red team infrastructure like really quickly. So we're going to try and kind of mix those two things together. So I had another idea. Let me know what y'all think of this. So what we can do is we can actually direct to different beacons in the environment. So what I thought about doing here is, let's say this beacon. In fact, here, hold on. I'm just going to do this real quick. I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. This was us trying to create an HTTP beacon from the DLL, but for some reason the DLL invocation never works for me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with it. Yeah, it just doesn't do it. Makes me sad. Check this out. So if I run HTTP x64 right here, right? We have attacker desktop here. I was thinking about something, and I don't know the implications of this, but there's a lot of times I want to run certain commands, but I don't want to have to. I like to work inside of a single interface if I can. It's like, well, you know what? If I've got this, and there's certain things that I want to do in a local attack box, like run certain PowerShell commands, run certain PowerShell tools to convert something. So, for example, we can use rubeus to convert hashes for us from a password. So if we use stand-in and we create ourselves an account, we'll have a password. We can use rubeus to create all the hashes. Well, it's a lot more OPSEC safe if I can do all this stuff offline from our, let's call it our attacker box, that's running Windows over here. So I was thinking about trying to find a way. I'm probably not going to do that now. Thinking about it for the future, where we could direct certain commands over to this internal attack box, have it run that stuff for us, get that output and prepare it, and then send it to another beacon. You can do that. So I thought about that might be an interesting way to help improve operational security. All right, let's go use stand-in real quick to make ourselves a computer. Actually, stand-in is such a simple command line. I think what we might do is let's go make a wrapper for stand-in. Let's come up here. Let's define a global for it. That's going to be get file proper. And we're going to drop in the path and make a couple minor modifications. And just double backslash these. Whack, whack. I feel like a duck when I say that. Whack. Put in a couple of backslashes. And then what we can do is we can go copy the rubeus function. So that's invoke decom. Our imports, import power up. There's some of our firewall helpers. Where do we have this? Here we go. Let's throw this one down at the end here. So rather than rubeus, we'll call this stand-in. It's going to be the stand-in path. Boom, perfect. Very easy. Some sauce. Because then what we can do is we can just kind of leave this. We don't need anything auto-magical for this. The syntax is so simple for stand-in. We might as well just make a wrapper for it. Let's go load that up. Because I forgot a semicolon somewhere, didn't I? No? Wait, yeah, I did. I know exactly where I forgot it. I know exactly. Right there. Alright, cool. So we'll wrap that up there, and then we'll reload it. Someone was joking the other day, like, you're just trying to have, like, an I win button for the lab, aren't you? I was like, not exactly, because I don't know. So for the exam, let's go look at that real quick. Here, so this is what the exam looks like. So it's a CTF style event driven on Snap Labs. It's an assumed breach scenario. The students must emulate an adversary using the provided threat profile as a guide. So we're probably going to have to build out our own C2 profile, or at least modify one that's already there. Profile is available from the Snap Labs event as soon as the exam booking is made. So providing ample opportunity to familiarize yourself with TTPs. If you don't already have a Snap Labs account, you have to create one. Each machine has a flag that must be submitted on the scoreboard as proof of progress. Students must submit 6 of 8 flags. So 6 flags to pass. You have a maximum allowance of 48 hours of runtime within a 4-day window. So we've got 12 hours a day we need to run this. Good thing is we don't have to do a report like the OSCP. The exam VMs can be stopped at any time to preserve runtime. Should an extended break be required? If enough flags have been collected at the end of the 4-day period, you get the Red Team Ops badge. Yay! From Badger. So, very cool. I'm hoping that, though, we're going to, with our helper functions, we're going to be able to operate a lot quicker, hopefully identify the issues much faster, and be able to like just really nail the exam. So let's go try this real quick. Let's try our stand-in. Because to make it, it's real simple. What we do is we just tell it, computer, evil computer. We're just going to give it the name we want, and then make. So super simple. Like I said, that syntax is so easy, it doesn't make a sense to make like super big helper functions right here. But this would be an interesting part where if we take this password and then we run it through rubeus, right? We could do that real simple. I don't know, maybe actually this would be something good to do. Because what we could do is we could then parse out these different pieces, because we will need this for rubeus. Damn it, I've tricked myself into making another function. Yep, we're gonna do it. Why? Because I'm a masochist, that's why. Let's come all the way to the bottom. Let's make a new alias. So we'll do alias. What to call this though? Create machine. Yeah, we'll just call it create fake machine. Why not? That's what we're doing. And then we'll do beacon command register. I meant to ask, probably didn't listen, but did you get your lab time extended? Stealth, yes I did. Thankfully, Rasta came through clutch today like I was hoping. And what's funny is I realized in the email I sent him, it sounded like I had just exhausted my lab time. So he replies back, well, you got to buy an extension. So thankfully I replied back, I was like, oh yeah, that was actually the issue. I already have an extension. I need to extend it more. So he replies back, okay, not a problem. I adjusted your account so you can buy another extension. I did, and bam, we've got plenty of time to go through the probably the week of July 4th. I'm thinking is when I'm going to take this. So maybe start it on July 1st and then run it through July 4th. I'm actually off July 4th, but I'm really hoping I'm going to be able to finish it in those first 3 days there. So, yeah, so here's hoping. We've got 4 days and 48 hours, right? So we've got 12 hours we could use each of those 4 days, which is actually really cool. Use stand-in to make a fake machine count. Say rubeus. And return password hashes. There we go. So then what we'll do is let's throw a usage in here. So our usage is going to be create fake machine. And it's just going to be the name. So we're going to need a callback for this too, but that's fine. It's going to work. It's going to work just fine. It's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a... The command is going to be real simple here. Actually, we're going to do our usual size check and just make sure we're running this correctly. So we'll do size is going to equal at size of at underscore. Well, the at, there it is. And then we'll do an if else. So if it equals 2, then we're going to do everything good. Otherwise, we're going to blog 1 invalid parameters. And return. So it stops execution. We're going to define our command here, which is going to be real simple. It's going to be... Actually, we want to get the name of it first. So name, that's going to equal at underscore 1. And then our command, that's going to be, where is it? tac computer. And then we're gonna then just append the name. We're just gonna do this all inline. Name, then tac. Yeah, that should be it right there. That's gonna be real simple. And then we'll do B execute assembly. So our beacon is going to be $1. Our assembly, that's going to be stand-in. And then our parameters, and we'll just do $. So I will rename that. There we go. And so what we're going to need to do now is we're going to have to create a callback for fake machine. So a subroutine for that. And then for... Crap, what is it for execute assembly? I'm trying to remember. That's power pick. I know I have an example of it in here somewhere. Really? None of these are using callbacks? Kill me, Smalls. There it is. So it's parameters. Okay, so we need one null and then the callback. Got it. So we'll do $parameters here. We're going to pass one null variable and then the callback, which would be... So first thing I want to do is I want to log the output of that first one. So we'll log to beacon1 the output, which is going to be $2. And then what we'll do is we're going to do a little bit of parsing. So what do we need? We're going to need the domain, need the password, and then the user account, which is going to be the name that went with it. Yeah, so how are we going to do this? Let's see. That's a positive. Will you get it right to the end if you don't leave it running? Yeah, no kidding. Actually, we have more than plenty of time. I think, because if I come to my events here, we've got 77 hours. That is more than plenty to carry us using stream time alone through that. So I might actually do a little bit of extra stuff like on the side. Any changes I make to this script, though, I'll throw them up on the GitHub. Like if I make... Because one thing I want to do is I want to go and reorganize it and probably rename a bunch of these functions. So that way they have more logical sense to them. Yo, bro! What's up, brother? How's your day going, man? Hope you had a fantastic Monday. GoPro pop into the chat like...
I'm back, baby.
I love that sound. Right, so let's do some parsing here. So we're gonna need the domain. Actually, we're gonna need some regexes here. So we'll do what's gonna call this? Reg domain. And so to get the domain, what we're going to look for is domain star colon base, and then I think dot star there. I think that will get us the domain there. GoPro occupies most of my mornings and early afternoons, depending on how long he streams. Hey, Oni, what's up, dude? Welcome back, man. I try to be that morning background noise. Yeah. So if I'm gonna stream more, it's just gonna have to extend later into the night. But actually, I've got a few folks coming in, like Agent 57, who's over in the UK, and so I get some of those, early morning, late night folks from the UK. I had some fella from, I want to say Greece had popped in, Singapore, Australia. So there is like some audience to kind of keep building that forward a little bit. Let's see. I think that will get us the domain there. We're going to need, to generate the hashes, we need the domain. We're going to need the user. Let's call this reg user. And for the user, what we're going to do is we're probably going to look for the DN. And then we'll do another space. And we'll do CN equals. We'll do dot star to yeah, that's what we'll do. That, and then we'll do comma CN equals. There we go. I think that will get us the user. Actually, the machine account, which is going to be the user. Then what else do we need? We need the password. So our password, that's one's going to be simple, hopefully. It'll be password, colon. Dot star. I think that will work. Here's hoping. So, to get this, what we're going to need is we're going to need domain, DN, password. Yes, I think that works. So our domain is going to be our matches. And shit, what's the format for matches? So it's string and then pattern. If n is specified, this will return the grouped matches of the int substring matching the specified pattern. If n and m are specified, all the grouped matches of the n to m substrings will be returned. Okay. Oh, that's fine. All right, so it's string, so this is all going to be $2. And it's going to be reg domain. And then we're just going to take the 0 element of it. Because it's going to come back as an array. Make this the user. So this will be reg user. And then password. Actually, I need to change this. It's going to be, we're going to call this reg pass. Or just reg password. Wow. And then what we'll do is then we're going to build up our parameters here. So our parameters are going to equal, this is going to be running for rubeus. Now we're going to do, let's see. So we're going to do /password. Then we're just going to append all of our variables over here. Password. And then we need the... Oh, you know what I just realized? Actually, the user is going to need an additional $sign on the end. So I think we can do this and then append a $sign. I want to try that. Yeah, so we need the password, the user, which is going to be the machine account. That's what we're doing here. $user, and then we do one more. Let's see, what was the last thing? Domain. We do have a pretty tight-knit, like, InfoSec community, Oni, and it's not just, like, us degenerate hackers, too. There's lots for, like, even on the GRC side. Like, it's just a really nice community. So like there's the North Texas Cybersecurity Group, there's DHA, there's DC 214, there's Dallas and Fort Worth 2600, there's Hack Fort Worth, there's I think Isaka has a meetup also, and so a bunch of the crap. What are some of the other regulatory ones? I'm trying to remember. But yeah, so there's a ton here in the area. Assembly. All right, so let's run this. One assembly is going to be rubeus, and then we just pass in our parameters. All right, so hopefully this is going to work. First time. We're going to see if we can nat 20 these domain, these regexes here. All right, let's go try it. So we're going to do create fake machine, and we just give it a name. There we go. So create fake machine. I'm going to run it. Invalid parameters. Wait, did I do blog or berror? I did blog. That should be an error. I'm not going to reload that just for the change, though. So berror. That's fine. So now we'll do fake machine, test machines. Oh my great Googa Mooga. Nat 20 on this bitch. Look at that. GoPro. I rolled a nat 20 doing the regex. I think there is an OWASP group too, Matt. Yeah, I'm glad that you have been enjoying Texas since you moved out here, man, and it's been great for you and your family. It breaks my heart though that you had to move here from your hometown to experience that. I get it, but you know, because that should be by all rights a good area. I don't know what is up with it. Not to dox you too much, but it should be a nice area. All right, cool, awesome. So now what this tells us is, God, I wish I could get rid of this. I'm gonna go check something real quick. rubeus GitHub. Of course, there's nothing to silence the banner, bastard. Because I wish this just messes up my output. Like, stop it. You stop it. Make them cook for you. Dude, if I can sometime, I'll find like some time to come bring the kids over. And they'll totally hate the cooking, but they could suck it up and go hungry for me to have yummy cooking. I'm so much meaner than my wife. She's a sweetheart. Like the kids, they throw a fit and like, I don't like this. I'm like, all right, that's all I'm making. You can go hungry. Your breakfast is just gonna taste extra good. It is kind of a good cop, bad cop thing. All right, cool. I'm not going to do the rest of the attack, but what we could do is now that we have this machine account and we have the password hashes, we could go ask for a TGT for this machine. Hey, hold on. I just realized something. In rubeus, I think the ask TGT will take something that's not a hash. Oh, okay. So if you specify the password, you need to specify the encapsulation type, which defaults to RC4. Okay. Anyway. Oh, good. This is actually something else I wanted to recover, was how to do shadow credentials, which is a way to backdoor an account. Dude, I love Thai and Japanese food. Okay, so I do like them, except they're not currently on the meal plan. About 5 months ago, my wife and I started doing carnivore, and actually, it's been fantastic. I usually keep my off-plan eating days, my cheat days, to like one a month, and I just had it yesterday for Father's Day. So, I need you to give me like 4 weeks, and then we can do this. Let's check something. All right, let me look and see how shadow credentials are actually done. All right. So if you can write to the MSDS key credential link property of a user computer, you can retrieve the NT hash of the object. Hold on. Can't that. Here's your obligatory panda selfie shot, whatever. Hello, panda. He's a quick girl. You have been. So actually, my brother, I was telling him this weekend, got to see him for Father's Day, and I was telling him about Panda killing 3 of my chickens, right? And he said, "You know how you keep her from doing that?" I was like, "No, but I would have gladly loved for you to have told me like 4 weeks ago." He said, "What you do," and this sounds really mean, but you got to think this is kind of an extreme measure to break a dog of a very ingrained, natural, predatory instinct that they have. He said you take one of the dead chicken carcasses and you jam it under her collar and basically pin it to her for 3 days. After that, she's not going to want anything to do with those chickens. I was like, all right, I'll keep that in mind, but hopefully it's not going to come to that, because right now she's banned from going in the backyard. Grilled a ton of meat for Father's Day? Heck yeah. Dude, I smoked a brisket, and it was the first time trying smoking it with so there's a fat side to it, there's a fat cap, and I usually do mine fat cap up, because what should in theory happen is that fat breaks down, it should release all those juices into the meat and do it. Well, all these barbecue blogs and videos online are always saying cook it fat cap down. I'm like, all right, you know what? Just this time I'm going to try it. Well, I think what happened is with the fat cap being down, it caused a rain of fat down into the onto the heating element, and it actually had a fire going. Like, there was way more smoke that didn't smell as good coming out of the thing. So I turned off I did an emergency shutdown on the smoker and let it chill out. And sure enough, yeah, it had started a fire in there. So I've gone through and I've cleaned it up, and I have 10 pounds of brisket now that it tastes okay if you cut off the skin, but it made me really sad. Okay. That's right. So we're doing shadow credentials. We're setting up a public-private key pair. We're setting up a certificate. That's right. I hated brisket till I had it in Texas. Heck yeah. Dude, literally all I do, Oni, is I'll do salt. That's it. I'll just salt the brisket. You can do other rubs and stuff, but part of doing the carnivore thing is you mostly just stick to meat, salt, and water. I still have coffee. I still have my Jocko drinks. I realize that there's some things that are beneficial for certain reasons. It's not just caveman style, right? Or advanced caveman style where you have fire and salt on hand. But really, like when I cook my briskets, my ribs in the smoker, I just salt. And my coworkers, when I bring them some and my wife takes her some, they're like, how the heck is this so good? It's like, what seasonings did you use? Salt. Yeah, what else? Salt. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe there's good ley lines running through Texas and it just makes the meat taste better. Oh yeah, stealth. Especially doing the like the way my wife and I eat, right? I'll knock out 2 pounds of meat a day. She'll knock out usually 1.5 pounds. And so maybe that's like on the high side. But still, so you gotta think a 10-pound brisket doesn't last super long. Oh, actually, I didn't realize this. So there's certain conditions we need to this. A minimum of 1 Windows Server 2016 domain controller is needed. Interesting. The domain controller also has to have the server authentication digital certificate installed. And we have to have an account with delegated rights to modify the MSDS key credential link. Okay. That's actually something else we could do.
Caution. A virus has been detected.
Brother Salty.
Salty Demon 86 virus detected in the network.
The Salty virus is in the house. Hey, baby. Hey, Deb. So, I forget what we were even talking about. Marky, you're actually on point with the salt there because we were just talking about really all you need to cook a brisket is salt and maybe pepper if you like it. Salty, how you feeling, brother? Are you going to be up to streaming tomorrow night? Have you recovered from your little sparring match with the forklift? Yeah, so for those of y'all who didn't know, Salty decided to pick a fight with a forklift, and we couldn't do our stream tonight because he's like, I'm kind of just laying in bed bruised. He's like, but you should see the other guy. Hopefully you're doing better, my brother. Okay, cool, man. Been looking forward to it. I need to go through and actually off stream work on teaching you how to set up a virtual machine. It's not that hard. It's just there's some stuff we're gonna have to do that just doesn't make sense to try and do on stream. I can just walk you through it on Discord a lot faster, and then we'll get you set up. The poor forklift didn't have a chance. That's right. He comes in like Devil Dog Falcon Punch. Push. Salty, what is the system you have for whenever you do like shout outs for somebody and it plays a sound for them? Or the walk-on sound? Because I think you deserve a walk-on sound, and now I'm gonna go record it. And it's gonna be like Devil Dog Falcon Punch. Push. It hit Salty and all the bolts fell out. Okay, I'll figure out how to do that. I think I can actually do that through StreamerBot. I've been meaning to mess with it some more. And it can do lots of cool stuff. So I think I can have an event whenever a particular user comes in to play a sound. So, I'll use Blurp to do it? Okay. I might go mess with Blurp. Interesting. So how do I do this? So Whisker is a tool that will automate this process. Let me think about this. Let's go make a helper function real fast. Dude, we haven't played Sons of the Forest in forever. Check something. What was the first one for Sons of the Forest? Because Sons of the Forest is actually a sequel, isn't it? I can't remember. I don't think we can show that on stream. That game gets kind of intense. Actually, so Salty, there's a new game coming out called PAX Day that is, way less grungy than Sons of the Forest. But it's just called The Forest. Okay. But PAX Day is supposed to be a lot more like cooperative, but not necessarily like PvP type. You join into a server, you build a community. It looks really interesting. I don't know if I have the time commitment, which means I probably don't. But you should definitely check that one out. And you have to buy it through their website, and they send you a Steam key. But it's pretty cool. It looks really interesting, like it's gonna be real in depth. My other gaming group, Derp Company, they're going like all in on it. All right. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. The graphics on it look amazing because it's running, I think, Unreal 5. So I want to copy this and make it a helper function, where we can just give it the machine name. Actually, we'll say the target account name. And then we'll just have to remember that, hey, it's $sign here. Nope, come back. Come back. I need to write stuff. Damn, our helper script is getting freaking long. Let's call this Shadow Creds. Yeah, let's call this Shadow Creds list. Why not? And then what we'll do here is we're going to say this uses Whisker. We're going to have to go define a path for Whisker. Check accounts. What's the value it's going to check here? It's going to check the MSDS key credential link. Do is let's string append onto this. Let's say usage. Shadow Creds list account name. Oh, easy peasy. Size of @_. Let's see. So we'll do the size here, and then we'll do a quick if else. So if size equals 2, we're good. Else this stuff. Boop. Alright, so if the size is equal to 2, then we're gonna do dollar parameters. It's gonna equal, let me see. This is so short, I'm just going to do it in one line here. So we're going to do list, target, colon, and then we're just going to append $2 onto this. And then we're going to run this. Actually, before I do this, this is line 1438. We got to come up here. I don't think we have defined the path for Whisker. So let's go do that real quick. Just defining these paths alone is going to help us out so much. Get file path proper. Drop that. So let's adjust this just a wee bit. And drop in a couple of backslashes and we'll be good. There we go. Back to the bottom. There we go. So then we do B execute. There we go. So our beacon, that's going to be $1. Our assembly is going to be Whisker. And we just pass it $parameters. Easy peasy. So all this is going to do is basically just be a wrapper to run this command right here. So rather than having to run this long ass line, we can just do shadow creds list DC2 $. So save us a lot of headache and making sure we get the command formatted correctly. So let's go reload this sucker. DC2 $. Perfect. All right, cool. So then what we can do is we can actually add that to DC2. But we would need a TGT for DC2 to do that. So I don't think I have a valid TGT for DC2, fortunately. But you know what we can do? Rubeus triage. Let me check something here. So, actually, we could do triage and service KRB TGT. In fact, we have a Kerberos Steel TGT here, I think. Great net only, diamond ticket, golden ticket, PTT. Purge, ticket use. Yeah, this is supposed to be used for constrained delegation, but we can actually use it for this and just steal the machine's TGT out of here. Let's do that. This should work. Nice. So what we can do is we can take this now. Let's go drop it in our notes real quick. I'm going to delete these out because these Kerberos tickets have aged out already. I'm just going to drop this in here. I'm going to call this DC2 there. Drop that right there. And then let's do some other stuff here. So on workstation 2, we had to do this from our elevated prompt. The ads are running right now. So we'll let the ads chill out for just a second here. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this ticket, we're going to create a process, inject it, steal the token from it, and then we'll have access to write to DC2's machine account, and we're going to put in some shadow grids. That's what we're going to do. In fact, if we wanted to do that, we actually could do it from this machine here. So, while this is handy just for shortcutting the lab, I think I might actually try this a little bit differently here. I'll probably just do it from this machine, actually, come to think of it. DC2, got it. Yeah, so this works. Nice. So let's go duplicate this function real quick here. So rather than listing, let's call this add. And then what we'll do is let's rename these things here. So this needs to change. That needs to change. And then our command needs to change here. This is going to be add. Target's going to remain the same. Yeah, there we go. So we just do accurate. So this use whisker to uh, Add certificate. Oh god, what did I do? I'm messing all this up. Perfect. Because that did actually have a very similar format. We just changed list to add. Bam, we're good. So we set this up right here. Oh, good. The ads are done. All right. So all we did now is we created another Shadow Creds helper function to add one to it. So what we'll do here, we just got to change list to add. Oh, wait. We got to reload the script. What this will do is it's going to, we'll look at the output. We'll walk through what it's doing here. Hey, there we go. So check this out. It goes through and there was no path provided. So the certificate's going to be printed as a base64 blob. No path was provided. The certificate will be stored with the password here. Searching for the account target name, it finds it, it generates a certificate, and then it generates a key credential. And then basically what it's going to do is it's going to go inject that into that MSDS key credential link attribute on the target, update it, and we could do that because we're running as DC2, so we have access to it on the domain. Oni? You better be fucking with me. Because it says I'm talking. Oni, are you messing with me? I can hear it because I just unmuted my stream. Definitely not you. It sounds like a skill issue. Have you tried getting good? It's usually on. It's not on sale. You have to pay a premium to get good.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
You are all filthy lying trolls, is what y'all are. Every single one of you. Oh, cool. So this actually gives us the rubeus command we need to run right here. Okay, so one thing we want to do is Whisker has a clear command to take out those credentials, but it also has a remove command, which is the better one to do. So now, if we list these out, we can see this credential set right here. This is the one we created. Here's the device ID, and that matches what we had right here. I told you it was working. I can listen. I have I have both my streams up, and so I can unmute them to see if like it's legitimately working. That's one thing I try to keep a track on. In fact, I just realized I've had the YouTube chat hidden, but usually there's like only one person pops in there, and if they do, then they usually come over to Twitch. Anyway, which I think is better. The YouTube is honestly just for archive. That's really the purpose it's serving right now. Eventually, I do want to make some like standalone videos, maybe over some of the stuff we do in the home lab. But I gotta learn video editing because I suck at using DaVinci Resolve. All right, so let's do one more function here where we can remove this right here. So I think we just copy this. So rather than add, we're going to change this to remove. change that. And then what we need to do to remove it is we need to give it the target, but also, there we go. We got to do one more thing. We need to give it the target, and we also got to give it the device ID. So this is, what's the command? Device ID. This should be $3 here. So I'm going to make that one. So we need to change this. This is the account name. This is the device ID. Now I'm going to make one more note here. It's like, use Shadow Cred's list to find the device ID. There we go. I'm literally just listening in from my tablet preparing for tomorrow. Might end up working late, but not sure until some things get approved. Dude, so I operate like on a very razor's edge minimum of sleep. So I usually recommend folks like, hey man, if you're not getting ample sleep, don't work late, because you're just going to start degrading your performance. If you have a good sleep schedule and you're getting like 7 hours of sleep, I mean, you're probably fine, right? But I get usually 5.5 hours, sometimes less than 5. So like I'm operating on a very razor's margin for that. So like one time after I finished the stream, I tried to go work late, and it was just an absolute disaster. I was brain dead for the rest of the next day. So any time I made up after the stream was just jacked the rest of the day. And so I know a lot of folks do that, like they operate on that kind of razor's edge amount of sleep, just kind of in our American society. So, but take care of your sleep, man. Whenever you're not sleeping well, you're not branding well. And when you're not branding well, you're not operating efficiently, and it's going to take more time. It's a very vicious cycle. What happens is you cut back on your sleep so you can work more, but then your sleep deficit cuts into how well you can think. So then you're not operating efficiency. So then you need to try and throw more time at it, which cuts in even more sleep. And it just creates this very vicious cycle of degraded performance and makes you end up wasting a lot of time. Take care of yourself, get good sleep. Yeah, you want to know how I know that? That was my life about a year ago. And that's why maybe 2 years ago. And that's why I feel like I owe Salty so much. And when I was really happy he wanted to do the mentoring streams. Because what I did was I was managing my pen test team, right? So I would spend, and first off, I realized my prioritization of time was also jacked up, because I spent my prime brain time, which was during the day, doing the administrative work that really didn't need a lot of brain power. I should have been doing that shit at night whenever I was more or less brain fried. But I was also doing all the administrative work, which took like a full 8 hours by itself, and I was doing pen tests, which took like another full 8 hours. I was only sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. And because of that, I just kept throwing more time at stuff. I, just to save my sanity, would hop into a video game with Salty at night. We'd play for a couple hours, then I'd go back to work. And so that little bit of sanity saving is why I feel like I have such a debt to repay to Salty, because I know he was staying up late and he wasn't getting much sleep either, just to play games with me. Oh, dude, when I was younger, yeah, I didn't need as much sleep. If I was operating, I'm fairly confident if I got my exercise schedule back in order, which I can't really do because I'm not getting enough sleep. So I need a time where I can get like extended sleep. I can get my exercise schedule back in order. And then, believe it or not, once that's actually going, I can go back to doing less sleep. I just need to get that part done. Yeah, I think I'd be good at 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep. 6.5 seemed to be a sweet spot where I was just firing on all 12 cylinders and like just crushing it. But honestly, since I picked up streaming, that's not really an option until I don't know. Maybe one day the stream will make enough to replace my wife's income and then she can retire. Once in a while, sleep for like 10 hours. Yeah. And dude, I know they said you can't bank that up, but they're wrong. My N of 1 experiments tell me that I can bank sleep. Yeah, exactly, Oni. 6 hours, 6.5 hours, I'm solid. I used to go to bed at 9:30 and I'd wake up at 4 a.m. to exercise. And I was just crushing it whenever I was doing that. All right, I think we got this function. Hold on. Yeah, target device ID. We need to change this, though. We need to change the command here. It's going to be remove. All right, let me go try this real quick here. For some reason, I felt like, because I had another buddy who's going through RTO ask me about shuttle creds, and I couldn't articulate it very clearly, but the concepts are not difficult. I just didn't recall it. So hopefully now it's going to be a little bit more solid in my brain. So if I list these out, we see that we've got this here. So if we change this to remove from DC2, give it the device ID. Let's go check the help, actually. Count name, device ID. All right, cool. We'll change this to remove. We're going to copy and paste the device GUID here. Oh shit, I didn't change the parameters. This needs to be changed to a 3. There we go. Let's try that again. All right, so if we list these out again, no entries. Okay, perfect. So this is what I was talking about. If you put in a backdoor, you better clean up a backdoor. Dude, burnout is very real. And one thing I was actually really happy about was I was stress eating like really bad, and I didn't realize how bad it was until I packed on like 25 pounds. And so really that didn't kind of go off. Actually, it was kind of crazy because as soon as I switched to doing carnivore back in January, right when my birthday is, that 25 pounds just melted right back off, and I went kind of like and stabilized back at 225. That's what my kind of normal weight is now. And it pissed me off to be back at 250, because even when I was teaching martial arts and working out like crazy, and I was actually much slimmer, I was still 250. It was crazy. It was like it was an anchor weight that my body wanted to keep me at. And so when I first dropped down below that and I started getting down to like 225, I was super stoked. And then to go back up to 250 just infuriated me at myself. So my weakness, Oni, was those chili roasted pistachios. And yeah, dude, I would eat those and like I'd just be munching, and they tickled some kind of dopamine center in my brain, and I was just really liking it. And I would knock out a bag of those fuckers a night. Damn it, GoPro. I did. They were salty nuts too. Salty and spicy. But dude, I would knock out a bag of those suckers a night. That's like 4,000 calories. So no wonder why I packed on 25 pounds in what felt like overnight. Okay, so the next topic in here is Kerberos relaying. Which I think we might save that for... I think we're going to save that for tomorrow night, or for Wednesday night. Because Kerberos relaying is another one of those ones that I really need to go read up on, because there's a lot of steps to it. Yeah, I need to go reread this now. Because the first time I went through this, it wasn't working properly, and I was having a whole lot of trouble with it. So I really want to see what I can do with this. So I don't want to try to rush it tonight. Oh, cool. So this actually was a technique kind of pioneered by James Forshaw, which I've got his book in the other room, which is his Windows internals with PowerShell. So, yeah, dried fruit does have a ton of sugar in it. All right. I tell you what, let me do this real quick before I forget. Let me go grab the updated copy of the script and go throw it up on GitHub. Because I think I did that last night. I didn't commit the change. Added stuff. Cool stuff. The best stuff ever. There we go. Alright, cool. Let's see here. Anybody up on Infinite? Hey, Tennis is on. Okay. I wonder how long he's going to be on. Let's see. What's his time? What's his uptime? He's been up for 2.5 hours. We might go rate him out. Because I really try to prioritize anybody on the InfoSec streams that's on. Let me check something real quick here. Trying to see who else is online. He's kind of like the prime suspect right now. I like Cat Tennis too. He's just such a major Linux wizard. And you got to remember, the cool thing about kind of like what you might learn from his stream is that a lot of times hacking is just unauthorized system administration in weird ways. It's a bit like changing your spark plugs, but you approach the engine through the muffler. Through the tailpipe. So, a lot of fun there. So yeah, I think we're going to go show Hat some love. Yeah, let's go raid over to him. Get that set up. There he is. Alright, cool. Everyone, I hope you'll have a fantastic Monday. Tomorrow we're going to do mentoring with Salty. We're going to get after it. And so, everyone, take care. Get some good sleep so you can crush it tomorrow. Sleep is important. It regulates a lot of your body. Get after it. I just want y'all to know one thing. I love you. Peace.